Hey guys, it's Rolando King back for another video, and I don't know what to call this show yet, but we're gonna be cooking ramen and talking about the Hunger Games. I'm gonna be using this Korean slash Japanese slash Chinese ramen. And yeah. So, the Hunger Games. I recently just finished watching and reading the book and movie of the Hunger Games. Today I'm going to be telling you which one I think is better, the book or the movie. Now, I'm a movie guy, so let's preface this off. I do have a bit of a bias, but to throw you for a loop, I actually think the book is better. Now, what's the reason I think that? Well, there's a lot of reasons. Now, am I saying that the movie is not worth the watch? No, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that the book is better in a lot of ways. So guys, here's a little tip when you're cooking ramen. You want to put the powder in first, but if you already knew that, you gotta spread the powder out. What's wrong with my powder, dude? It's just staying at the bottom. Add in our vegetables, and let's talk about the reason I think the book is better. I think the book is better because it implements the story of Katniss Everdeen more effectively than the movie does. Now, what's the reason it does this? Well, I mean, the movie and the book takes it two different ways. The book is more of a girl gets thrown into this crazy situation with some evil people. The Capitol. But the movie is like girl, hero, woman saves the day for everybody. And more of a hero's journey story, and the book is more of a she's tossed into a bad situation and is trying to make the best out of it kind of thing. So they take it both different ways, but I think the way Katniss is and the way the story is run for future editions, I think the book is better. But there are definitely more reasons. Like another reason is the characters are way more likable in the book than the movie. You may be thinking, well, I like the characters in the movie. And you're probably saying that because you haven't read the book. And the reason I'm saying that is if you read the book and then you see the characters in the characters in the movie are not likable at all. There's no characters that are more likable in the movie than in the book. So let's go through them all. Prim, Katniss' sister, the girl. In the book, we can tell that she's a happy-go-lucky kind of girl who is enjoying her life and likes the simple things. And now we can see the reason Katniss is willing to sacrifice her life for her sister. We hear the story about like how she got her pet goat and things like that, and oh yeah, the ramen. Yeah, so we can see the reason she's so likable and the reason her sister loves her so much, right? But in the movie, we see none of that. We don't see any of her likable traits. All we see is her crying and then her being, Katniss volunteering as tribute. That's all we see of Prim. And in the movie, she just looks like a girl who needs her sister to do everything for her. And those are the type of people that are less likable than in the books. Oh yeah, by the way, Peeta and Katniss are like the supposed lovebirds in this movie, right? Or in this book. In this book and movie. But the reason I think they shouldn't be together is their ship name is Penis. Definitely cooked enough, or at least for me. I like it a little bit crunchier. And we got residual heat on our side. So Peeta is less likable in the movie as well, not just because of the ship name. Peeta is very likable in the book. You can see him cracking off self-deprecating jokes, and he seems like a very, likable, jokey, funny dude. Seems like, a joking around kind of guy. I'm gonna put my egg in the rest of the broth to thicken it up and get that egg taste. Crack that in there. So yeah, Peeta is like a very personable, funny dude. We can see that in the interview of the book and, blah, blah, blah. And, his relationship with Katniss seems sincere. He's joking around with her, and it seems like a very fair trade-off that she's helping him, he's helping her, and you can see their dynamic very well. You like the guy, right? You understand why at times he is very mad at Katniss, and other times, Katniss is mad at him. Like you understand everything. But in the movie, he just seems kind of desperate for Katniss, right? Like in the movie, he's like in the cave, and then she kisses him to get a gift from Haymitch. And then he's like, "No, I'm never letting you go." He's not like that in the book. And it just makes it way less likable. And plus, like, you don't get half the context. And I understand screen time, and you have a limited amount of time in movies. But, Katniss gets super pissed off in the movie. And we're just like, how come? He didn't do anything. They're like, Haymitch was like, actually, Peter wants to trade. Yeah, I'm not the smartest. Here is a look at my ramen. Looks very nice, looks very tasty. So we're gonna move this, and now it's a mukbang. Dude, I'm stupid. Did I burn my arm? Haymitch is like, oh, Peter wants to train by himself now, actually. And then Katniss is like, what? I thought we were supposed to be training together, like a couple. Katniss and Rue, the girl in the Hunger Games who Katniss befriends. We don't understand the dynamic that well in the movie. In the book, we know that Katniss is friends with her because she reminds her of her sister. But if you just watch the movie, you're given none of that context at all. So Katniss just seems kind of dumb for letting, some stranger girl that could stab her in her sleep, sleep together. Not in that kind of way. You don't have time for that in the Hunger Games. Just seems a little dumb in the movie that Katniss is protecting this girl so much. But in the book, like, you understand because it's like her sister, who's actually likable in the book. When it comes to Katniss in the movie, I think she's fine. Jennifer Lawrence is a great actor. I just think that, actually, yeah, Katniss is the one character that's, like, pretty good in the movie. Like, I'm okay with that. With all this trash talk of the movie, let's talk about some things it does really well. First off, there are some really great things that the movie does that obvious things that a book can't. For example, the color grading is nice and intentional, and I think it provides a great aspect to the movie. In the districts, the color is kind of dry and unsaturated, and my elbow still feels like it's on fire. So it kind of gives you this bleak, kind of dark feeling. But in the capital, the colors are bright and, dystopian kind of in a sense. And it's really great. I thought those little things. Same thing with the camera. Like the camera movements. They handheld recorded it in District 12. That irritated me so much because I was like, man, these guys don't know how to record and everything's so shaky. But it was intentional. I'm pretty sure it was because in the District 12, it's kind of uncontrolled, kind of unprofessional, and that's the kind of vibe you're getting from the place. In the Capitol, the camera's very steady. And I think they actually did that as an intentional move. Those kind of things, the camera, colors, those are really cool. There are also some scenes with President Snow that were fantastic in the movie. When I was filming this before, I actually said that one scene in the movie made the movie better than the book despite all its flaws and despite all the reasons I think the book is better. Obviously, that was a bit of an exaggeration. But, yeah, there's this one scene where that scene is fantastic. And on the surface, it may not seem that deep, but this had me thinking for a solid 6 minutes. Because that statement of what he said about hope is actually such a great representation of kind of how dark the capital is. What he said was very true. I mean, you could just execute 12 kids from every district, and that would certainly be a pretty hard thing to go through, I imagine, if that was your son. or a brother or a friend. But it wouldn't be as bad as the Hunger Games, and let me explain the reason. The Hunger Games gives you hope. It gives you the opportunity to see the one you love again, right? But to have that and to have them, give it to you, be in the top 10. Oh my gosh, my son is in the top 10. And then to see on camera your son or daughter being brutally slain and just being left dead in this cruel arena and setup by the Capitol, that's way more hopeless than just executing children. Because in the execution, you know their fates. But in the Hunger Games, you take their hope, you throw it up there, then you grab it and you throw it as far as you can. And then someone else grabs that hope, throws it on the ground, and stomps on it until there's none left. That's such a terrible thing to do, and it sets up the plot greatly for future movies. And I thought that scene was just absolutely fantastic. I mean, it makes this movie so much better. Because if that scene wasn't there, I'd be like, yeah, book is more worth it almost every time. That scene makes the movie worth watching. Let's go through some little things really quickly. I think Haymitch is more likable in the book, but you do see him working with people to try and give gifts in the movie. So I think he's fine in both ends. Cinna, you can understand the relationship between Cinna and Katniss, how close they are, and the reason there is. Because Katniss sees Cinna as the only other normal person. Yeah, but you can see the relationship bond very nicely between those two, and you can understand the reason Katniss is so close to him. But in the movie, you don't understand that context as much. You can get how they're close, but you just don't understand the reason. That's another point for the book. Let's talk about the action. The way the action is handled between both the book and the movie are different and both very nice. I agree with them. I like them both a lot, but I do like the book's version of the action just a little bit more. The Hunger Games itself is what I'm talking about, by the way. The movie does it kind of like you're watching a football game. You see it and he does the throw and, things like that, right? You're watching it in live time and you experience the highs and lows, right? The book is more of an analysis of the whole game after the game is over, like a professional analyzing each thing. The book does it in a more rewarding way for the reader. The book definitely does it in a more rewarding way for the reader because you can see the idea planted in Katniss's mind, and you can see it slowly unravel till she figures out the game strategy to, survive or, throw bees on her opponents. And it's very satisfying to see that a Rubik's Cube slowly being solved in her head every single time she encounters a problem in the book. And I think that's very rewarding, and you really respect Katniss for her intelligence when you see her go through this process firsthand. In the movie, it's more live, and that's cool to see too. There are cool things it's just awesome to see Hunger Games in a visual perspective. And I think that's what the movie really has going for it. But the action is just kind of you go along with it and you're like, oh yeah, that's cool. In the book, it's more rewarding, definitely. Another big thing that I totally missed on was the fact that the book is narrated and the movie is kind of a third-person angle. And obviously, it's harder and more inefficient to narrate something in film. But I think the story does a lot better with the narration. So in conclusion, what am I trying to say? Well, read the book, and if you really enjoy The Hunger Games, watch the movie. Because I see The Hunger Games movie as more of a tribute to the people who really enjoyed the book and to see it visually represented. But if you only have time to read or watch one, I would say read the book. Gives a better representation of what the story is trying to say as a whole. But if you like one scene and you're pretty extreme like me, watch the movie. Alright, thanks for watching the first ramen video. I'm going to finish this and I'll see you guys later. Subscribe, bye.